Another brick fan here with a look at a Harry Potter 2018 set. This is Hogwarts Great Hall. This is set number 75954. Was released in August 2018, has 878 pieces, 10 minifigures, and cost about $100 when it was released. We're going to look at each of the minifigures in detail later, but let's start with the main build. The main build consists of two separate sections, one being the Great Hall itself, and the other being a tower that is attached. First, let's take a look at the exterior. You can see all the windows are done using these dark reddish-brown window frames, and then a black crosshatch inside of the windows, which I think are very nicely done. There are some towers up here on the top, and then the main tower goes way up with a small green detail up on top. If you look closely on the sides here, there are statues on either side of the door. So we'll turn this castle around, and you'll see in the front there is a clock detailing here, and then the main doors, which are of course on clips so they can open up. So the courtyard does open up into the Great Hall itself. And then there is some detailing on the side of the tower done with stickers to give some brick detailing along the top. And then of course these scalloped pieces for the tower spires, and then the upper section of the tower is done in plates, as well as some of the rounded slope pieces, or the cone pieces, that are done to finish out the look of the tower itself. The castle is done in a dollhouse style. So you see the interior here of the Great Hall, and then the interior of the castle, and then the interior of the tower. Let's zoom into the Great Hall. Let's zoom into the Great Hall and get a little more light here so you can see what all of the details that are included inside. So here in the back you can see there are 4 tables. They each has a little bit of decoration on it. So in the back left there you see maybe a big sundae, and then the front left there's a teapot and a cup. By the fireplace there in the back there is a turkey leg. And then there's a cake or a muffin there on the front right table. Up on the front in the teachers area there are 3 chairs. So you can fit the teachers up there, with a Dumbledore's chair in the middle as a brick-built chair, and the others as the standard car chairs or standard Lego chair pieces. You notice the Quidditch cup there is in the back. There are banner pieces up on top here, and these are reversible, so we have all 4 houses. There's Slytherin and Ravenclaw here. The candles are mounted on some of these bars and robot arm clips using the new candle pieces. Getting this to exactly be level is a little bit tricky, but I think they may give that floating candle effect. You can see a better look at the fireplace there. And then on this side, you'll see another banner. So this has the Gryffindor banner in this case, and then on the back side of that has the Hufflepuff badger. So there's another quick look at the entire Great Hall, and let's move over and take a look at the tower itself. The tower has 4 levels. So on the main floor there's a stairway, and then you can see there's a broom, a standard push broom here on the side. In the Great Hall you saw some spaces for the more riding brooms. These stairs are done with the stair piece that has been around for quite a while. I like that it's done in this nougat color. If you look very closely you can see a frog on a table there in the back. And then just above the stairs there is the potions class. So you see a large cauldron with some green crystals in it. A couple of these green crystal pieces. A smaller cauldron with red crystal pieces, and then some potion bottles and a goblet there on the desk. Moving up, we see the sorting hat. It was done very nicely with just the molding for the eyes and the mouth, which I think turned out really well. Doesn't really need any additional coloring. So I think that was really well done. There's one of these newer spider pieces in here, and then a chest. The chest contains some gems. And finally, up on top, we have the Mirror of Erised is on top. We'll get a closer look at that in just a second. Let me get this light back on so you can see Fawkes, who is Dumbledore's Phoenix. This is a nice little brick-built version of him. So here's the nice brick-built version of Fawkes. I think it turned out very nicely with the little tooth piece there, done in the red and black. Then this little horn on top. Just a slope piece on the back to represent his plumage, and then 2 wings. So pretty cleverly done little representation of Fawkes. The Mirror of Erised was done very nicely with these dark yellow and pearl gold colors. You can see up on top it actually has Erised written there in script, and then some runes or decorations along the sides, which I think turned out really well. There are 4 different mirrored stickers that go on here. Now this is Professor Quirrell holding the Sorcerer's Stone. Another mirror that's available is Ron Weasley holding the Quidditch Cup. So showing off what Ron sees when he looks in the mirror. Another is Dumbledore with a nice pair of comfortable socks, because apparently socks are hard to come by when you're one of the most powerful wizards in the world. And finally we see Harry Potter, who sees himself with his family, his parents that he never knew, in the Mirror of Erised. So a very nice piece that fits right into the top of the tower. A couple of little builds that come with it is this boat, which is just a molded boat piece. This plates for the oars. There's a small build here with a lantern up on a post. And then on the bottom there's just some inverted smooth tiles to allow it to move across a surface easier. Lastly, there's a build for the basilisk. I think this was done very well with just a trans yellow stud inside here to represent the eye. The mouth opens and there's some nice white fangs in the front. He's all done with these articulating ball joints along, so you can position him and move him around quite well as a snake. He doesn't stand up very well. He's very front heavy, and I don't think there's really enough joints on him to balance him and counter that weight that he's carrying up front. But certainly if you put him on lock him down on a base plate, he's going to sit up just fine. A little complaint I have the way this is built is these pieces, as you move him around, can come apart pretty easily. I think it would have been nice to put some more of those inverted tiles on the bottom to provide more strength on these joints. Now that we've looked at all the pieces of the castle itself, let's take a look at the minifigures. As mentioned in the intro, this set comes with 10 minifigures. They include Hagrid, Nearly Headless Nick, Professor Quirrell, Professor McGonagall, Albus Dumbledore, Draco Malfoy, Susan Bones, Hermione Granger, Harry Potter, and Ron Weasley. First up, we're going to start with Hagrid and Albus Dumbledore. As you can see, Hagrid comes with a couple of accessories, including his umbrella, which hides his broken wand, and one of the new lantern pieces, again done in that metallic gray. Get the accessories out of the way. This new print for Hagrid is very well done. You can see he's got his nice nougat-colored jacket that goes all the way down. His waist there, he has a nice big belt, brown, and you can see several layers of clothing, including maybe even a little bit of a red shirt or dark reddish brown shirt underneath. The beard piece is very good, although it covers up a lot of his face, just like Dumbledore's beard covers up the excellent printing on the front of Dumbledore. It's on a red base with some gold printing. And you can see that this face has his half-moon spectacles on. I'm going to go ahead and remove this beard so you can see the print. There you can see Albus without the beard on, which doesn't look like Albus Dumbledore at all, actually. But you see the face print where he has kind of a neutral expression with his mouth there, and then the sideburns going down. Like I said, I really like this intricate printing they have on the front, done in some gold browns on top of the red, and it continues all the way down his legs, which I think looks really good. Moving around the figures, you see this nice little pocket mold on Hagrid, which I think is a really cool detail on the side there. Hagrid is completely plain on the back and does not have an alternate expression, interestingly enough. Although you really can't see his expression with all that beard in the way anyway. If I remove Dumbledore's hair here, you see the back of him with a slightly different expression. The main difference being he doesn't have his half-moon spectacles on. But you see he's got a nice back of the robe there, and it looks like there's a cap with a tassel on the top, kind of hanging down on his back. So a very nice, intricate robe piece for Dumbledore. Let's move on to the next two minifigures. This is Professor McGonagall and Professor Quirrell, the Transfiguration and Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. I think the printing on Professor McGonagall, again, is a quite detailed robe, much like Dumbledore's robes. Hers is done in a black and green with some light teal coloring, it looks like to me. There's a very nice necklace there she's wearing around her neck, which looks really good. Quirrell is wearing his traditional headdress and then a matching purple sash, it looks like. Then a tie with his black suit. So a nice print there. McGonagall has a fairly happy expression, and she's wearing the witch's hat there, and Quirrell has kind of a slight smile on his face. As we move around the figures, as you can see, McGonagall has the same printing that continues along the back, and Quirrell has a few lines indicating some folds in his jacket. Professor McGonagall has an alternate expression, which is a little more sad, perhaps, or concerned, and Quirrell also has an alternate face. Quirrell's alternate face is, in fact, Lord Voldemort, who is currently living attached to Quirrell, if you recall from the movie. So I think this is a good representation of that. It looks actually fairly accurate to the movie. Let's move on to the next two minifigures. Next up, we have Nearly Headless Nick, who is the ghost for Gryffindors. I think this is done very nicely in the silver and gray colors. He's got a very nice headpiece with a receding hairline in gray, which I think looks really good. He's got a nice expression on his face here, and then I like the mustache. So it looks pretty accurate to John Cleese, who plays Nearly Headless Nick in the movies. I like how the printing continues down his legs, and again, it matches up pretty well, which makes for a good-looking figure. Draco Malfoy here has his bright yellow hairpiece, kind of a smug expression on his face, which, again, fits the character quite well. He has the Slytherin sweater on, which has the white and dark green stripes along the bottom, as well as the white and dark green striped tie. No printing on the legs, and once again, the short legs because of the time frame of this set. As we move around the figures, you see that the printing for Nearly Headless Nick continues along the back and is very nice. And then there's some minor printing and a little bit of detailing for the collar and bottom of the sweater on Malfoy. Each has an alternate expression. So here's Nick looking more solemn or sad. And here is Malfoy with an angry expression on his face. So again, pretty accurate to the character. I don't see him scared very often. But definitely smug and angry are very common looks for him. Let's move on to the next two minifigures. This is Harry Potter and Ron Weasley. As you can see, each have their animals with them. So here is Hedwig with Harry, his Snow White owl, and of course Scabbers the rat for Ron. Get those out of the way so we can take a look at the figures themselves. Both are in their Gryffindor house uniforms, so the sweaters are very similar to the one Malfoy was wearing, except now they have the red and gold or dark yellow tie and striping along the bottom of the sweaters, and you can see both these torso pieces are identical. Harry, of course, has the lightning scar on his head, so his hairpiece has that part right there, so you can see the lightning scar with a hairpiece. Ron's hairpiece is a nice bright orange, which fits the character quite well. Moving around to the back, you see there's just a little bit of detailing around the collar and the base of the sweater, continuing along those Gryffindor color striping. Each has an alternate expression. So Harry with a frightened look here, and this is Ron's frightened look as well. So these figures are pretty similar to the ones that are with other sets from this series. Let's take a look at the last two minifigures. In the last two, we have Hermione Granger and Susan Bones. Hermione has the same torso piece as Ron and Harry that we just saw. So this is the Gryffindor sweater and uniform. I like the hairpiece they used for Hermione with a nice brown color and then the hair that goes over her shoulders. Susan Bones is a minor character from the universe, which I find kind of nice, I guess, that they include a not so predominant character. She is from Hufflepuff House, so you can see the black and yellow colors there for her tie and the striping on the bottom of her sweater. She has red hair, so when you first look at her, I thought it was Ginny Weasley. I suppose you could take one of the Gryffindor torsos and swap it out with the Hufflepuff torso and consider that Ginny Weasley, which would be accurate for the second part of the movie because, again, the Basilisk is in this, so this set could cover both the Sorcerer's Stone and the Chamber of Secrets movies with the accessories it comes with. Moving around to the back, there's no printing on the legs, and then, as you would expect, just a little bit of minor detailing on the backs of each of the torsos. Hermione's alternate expression is concerned, and Susan's alternate expression is a little sad, it looks like. It's interesting to note this hairpiece for Hermione is hard plastic, and Susan actually has flexible plastic. But both have little freckles on their faces and are good figures. Now that we've talked about all the minifigures, let's go back and I'll sum up the set. Overall, I'm very impressed with this set. I think there's a lot of really good details on the set. It comes with stuff from both year 1 and year 2 of the Harry Potter books and movies, which I think make for a nice play set. There's enough space inside the Great Hall that you can position these minifigures inside, keeping in mind, of course, that the students or children don't have articulating legs, so they'll be standing regardless of where you put them. They're not able to bend their legs and actually sit down. There are 4 teachers in this case, and there's only 3 seats at the teacher's table, so you can only put 3 of them. Now, Hagrid, of course, will not sit down either. So perhaps McGonagall, Quirrell, and Dumbledore are the ones you put at the table and then put Hagrid somewhere else. I like the inclusion of the potions classroom, as well as the sorting hat, which I think is a really nice piece. And then, of course, all the various pieces for the Mirror of Erised were very nice. I think all the minifigures are very appropriate. I did mention that it was interesting to see that Ginny Weasley was not included. But as I also said, you can take Susan Bones and replace the torso with one of the Hogwarts torsos, and I think you could call her Ginny Weasley very easily. So again, allows for some variation in the play. Going to the value of this set, it is a very large set, so I don't think $100 is unfair. It fits higher than the 10 cent per piece range, since it is 878 pieces. But you do get 10 minifigures, so at $4 a minifigure, that's $40 right there, if you're comparing it to the collectible minifigure blind bags. I think with the fact that it has 10 minifigures and fewer pieces is fine for me. I think the value is pretty good. I hope you've enjoyed my thoughts on this Harry Potter set. Time for me to get started on another video. Until then, happy building. Since you made it to the end of this video, click that like button. If you like the Harry Potter theme, I've included some links to my other Harry Potter videos. And go ahead and subscribe to see all of my content.